The December 2nd, 2025 Brookings County Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. This meeting is being recorded, televised, and viewable on Swiftel Channel 19, ITC Channel 168, or the Brookings County YouTube channel. I now call this meeting to order. Approval of minutes. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Kyle Vanderwall. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Clark. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Items to be added to the agenda by commission members or staff.
Just our regular department head report.
Okay. You good, Richard? Invitation for citizens to schedule a time on the commission agenda for an item not listed. Should be good there. Disclosure of conflicts of interest, relationship to the applicant, or ex parte communication.
I'll have to sit out the England 004 variance.
Any others? Approval of agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Troyan,
Second.
second by Jensen. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. We will now convene as the Brookings County Planning and Zoning Commission. The Brookings County Planning Commission is a 9-member commission whose function is to recommend approval or disapproval of land use plans, zoning ordinances, subdivision plats, amendments thereof to the Brookings County Commission. The commission makes its recommendation based on the adopted comprehensive plan for the physical development of the unincorporated areas of Brookings County. As a matter of policy, all motions are made in the positive. After a motion has been moved and seconded, it is open for debate. Those supporting the motion shall in turn give their reasons. Those opposing the motion shall then offer their reasons. After everyone has been given a chance to be heard, the commission shall recommend approval or disapproval based on the testimony and information presented. A simple majority vote of a quorum of members of the Planning and Zoning Board in attendance is required to forward a recommendation. Moving on, agenda item 2025, Plat 026. Plat of Tract 1 of Groon Edition in the southeast 1/4 of Section 28, Township 112 North, Range 52W of the 5th Primary, all in Brookings County, South Dakota. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Kyle Vanderwall. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Darrell Kleinjohn. Richard, would you read staff report?
Yes, 2025 Plat 026. Robert D. Groon is planning off a 7.47 existing building site from the 93 acres that they own. And the building site consists of the shelter belt, mature trees, house, barn, and other outbuildings. And the plat does meet the 2016 comprehensive plan for the unincorporated rural areas on page 24 for the agricultural land use. Here is the plat. Driveway going around the shelter belts, basically. Just the plat on the beacon map. Basically, they're deeding off the building site from the pasture ground. Here's the beacon map showing the whole 93 acres. That's all that I have, and the applicant is not here this evening.
Thank you, Richard. Since the applicant isn't here, we'll move to the public hearing portion. Is there anybody in the audience that is for this? Seeing and hearing none, is there anybody in the audience that's opposed to this? Seeing and hearing none, I will now close the public hearing portion. Is there any additional comments or questions from members of the board? Seeing none, Richard, would you call a vote?
Yes. Kelly Vanderwall.
Aye.
Darrell Storhog.
Aye.
Cody Clark.
Aye.
Darrell Kleinjohn.
Aye.
Kyle Vanderwall.
Aye.
Mark Jornby.
Aye.
Neil Troyan.
Aye.
Randy Jensen.
Aye.
And Chad Ford.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Moving on, agenda item 2025, Plat 027. Plat of Tracts 1, 2, and 3 of Robbins Edition in Section 25, Township 111 North, Range 49W of the 5th Primary in Brookings County, South Dakota. Is there a motion? Who had Jensen? Jensen with motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Clark. Richard, would you read staff report?
Yes, plat 2025, plat 027, the Robbins family members are planting off the 112.22 acres of grass and pasture land from the 291.79 acres of farm ground they own in the northwest and the northeast and the southeast quarter in section 29 of Afton Township. And it does meet the planting requirements on page 24 for the agricultural land use. Here is the plat. Track 3 is the grassland. Tracks 1 and 2 are the farm ground. Here's the tracks on the beacon maps. They were in like 4 or 680s or shortly thereof, so originally, so now they platted them into 3 separate parcels. Here's the beacon map showing the black outlined area, the 6 separate parcels. And that's all that I have, and the applicant is not here this evening.
Thank you, Richard. Since the applicant isn't here, we'll move to the public hearing portion. Is there anybody in the audience that is for this? Seeing and hearing none, is there anybody in the audience that is opposed to this? Seeing and hearing none, I'll now close the public hearing portion. Is there any additional comments or questions from members of the board? Seeing and hearing none, Richard, would you call the vote?
Yes, Dale Storhog,
Aye.
Cody Clark, Darrell Kleinjohn,
Aye.
excuse me, Kyle Vanderwall,
Aye.
Mark Joinby,
Aye.
Neil Troyan,
Aye.
Randy Jensen,
Aye.
Kelly Vanderwall,
Aye.
and Chad Ford.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Moving on to agenda item 2025, plat 028, plat of lots 2A, 2C, 4A, and 5 of the Porter Addition located in the north one-half of the northwest one-fourth of section 13, Township 109 North, Range 50W of the 5th Prime Meridian, Brookings County, South Dakota. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Troyan, is there a second? Who had that? Randy? Jensen was second. Richard, would you read the staff report?
Yes. Plat 2025-028, the Porter family is planting off Lot 4A. That's a 5.2 acre existing homestead from the 35 acres they own, and they're making property line adjustments on lots 2A, 3C, and 5. And the property is located in the Brookings City, Brookings County joint jurisdictional area, and it doesn't meet the comprehensive plan for the agricultural land use on page 24. Here is the plat. This is lot 5, the remainder of the farm ground. This is lot 4, where the existing house was. And this is lot 3C. We're making the property line adjustments on there, you'll see on the beacon map here. And lot 2A, right in here, they're making property line adjustments. You can see the blue line was the original property boundaries, property lines, and they've enlarged that to the red lines, so that's what they're doing here. There's the beacon map of the 35 acres with the existing building site, with the existing house right here. This is the existing house where Adam lives along the road. This is where the bait farm business is. And that's all that I have, and the applicant is not here this evening.
Thank you, Richard. Since the applicant isn't here, we'll move to the public hearing portion. Is there anybody in the audience that is for this? Seeing and hearing none, is there anybody in the audience that is opposed to this? Seeing and hearing none, I'll now close the public hearing portion. Are there any additional comments or questions from members of the board? Seeing and hearing none, Richard, would you call the vote?
Cody Clark. Aye. Darrell Kleinjohn.
Aye.
Kyle Vanderwall.
Aye.
Mark Jornby.
Aye.
Neil Troyan.
Aye.
Randy Jensen.
Yes.
Kelly Vanderwall.
Aye.
Dale Storhog.
Aye.
And Chad Ford.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Moving on, agenda item 2025, plat 029, plat of Lot 11 of Turtle Bay Edition, located in the south half of Government Lot 1 in the northeast 1/4 of Section 29, Township 109 North, Range 50W of the 5th prime meridian, and in a portion of the northeast 1/4 of the southeast 1/4 of Section 29, Township 109 North, Range 50W of the 5th prime meridian, and a portion of Government Lot 2 in the southwest 1/4 of Section 28, Township 109 North, Range 50W of the 5th prime meridian, all in Brookings County, South Dakota. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Clark. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Kyle Vanderwall. Richard, would you read staff report?
Yes, 2025 plat 029, Tim Hogan has submitted a plat for Lot 11 in Turtle Bay Edition on the west side of Lake Campbell. The preliminary plat was approved on June 6, 2024, and plat meets the requirements for the Brookings County subdivision ordinance, the Lake Park zoning ordinance, and the 2016 comprehensive plan for the unincorporated rural areas on page 11 for the developed lakes or the existing land use. Here is Lot 11. Here's the Lot 11 on the beacon map. There's just the bare property without the other lots that have been, are previously platted on there, so it's about right in this area. That's all that I have, and the applicant is not here this evening.
Thank you, Richard. Since the applicant isn't here, we'll move to the public hearing portion. Is there anybody in the audience that is for this? Seeing and hearing none, is there anybody in the audience that is opposed to this? Seeing and hearing none, I'll now close the public hearing portion. Are there any additional comments or questions from members of the board? Seeing and hearing none, Richard, would you call the vote?
Yes, Kyle Vanderwall,
Aye.
Mark Jornby,
Aye.
Neil Troyan,
Aye.
Randy Jensen,
Yes.
Kelly Vanderwall,
Aye.
Dale Storhaug,
Aye.
Cody Clark,
Aye.
Darrell Kleinjohn,
Aye.
Chad Ford.
Aye.
Motion passes.
We will now convene as the Brookings County Board of Adjustment. The Board of Adjustment is a 9-member board which has the power to hear requests for variances, conditional uses, appeals, and non-ministerial decisions of the zoning officer. The concurring vote of 2/3 of a full board membership of the board, 6 votes, is necessary for approval of a variance or an appeal of the zoning officer. The concurring vote of a simple majority of those board members present and voting is necessary for approval of a conditional use. In accordance with Robert's Rules of Order, we require a motion to approve a request before the request can be debated. As a matter of policy, all motions are made in the positive. The board, under specific powers granted to it by the state, shall authorize variances from zoning requirements where special conditions existing on the land will result in an unnecessary hardship for the applicant. Financial disadvantage to the property owner shall not constitute proof of an unnecessary hardship. Agenda item 2025 variance 004. Keith England by Tony Brower has made an application 2025 variance 004 to the Brookings County Board of Adjustment for a variance Article 4 District Requirements, Chapter 4.01A Agricultural Land District, Section 4.01.05 Area Regulation Easements. The property is described as the south 1,700 feet of the east 670 feet of the southeast 1/4 in Section 14, Township 112 North, Range 51W, Preston Township, located at 19877 465th Avenue, Bruce, South Dakota 57220. Is there a motion? Motion by Jensen. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Clark. Richard, would you read the staff report?
Yes, 2025 variance 004. Keith England by Tony Brower has applied for a front yard variance to build a 28 by 30 house addition, 74 feet from the center of 465th Avenue, a variance of 59 feet. The required setback is 133 feet from the center of the road. The proposed addition cannot be moved farther to the west of the house because there is a detached garage located there on the west side of the house. And the house was built in 1917 prior to the current zoning regulations. Public notices were published in the Brookings Register on November 18th and 25th, 2025, and the Volga Tribune on November 20th and 27th, 2025. And letters were sent to the adjoining landowner and the Preston Township Chairman and Clerk. Here's the variance application. Is there a site map? Existing house, proposed addition. There's the existing garage. There's the floor plan. It shows 28 by 30 living room and 2 bedrooms onto the existing house. This shows the elevations. Here's the beacon map showing the distance and where the addition will be located. There's the detached garage right directly to the west of the house. This is where the 133-foot setback would be on the west side of the house if they were to meet the setback requirements of 133 feet. There's just the whole parcel. This is just looking south from the yard, going down towards the road. This is looking from the west towards the building site. This is where the proposed addition would go. This is just looking north along the roadside, the front yard. Here the stake is at 28 feet from the house. This would be the northeast corner of the proposed addition. This is that's looking towards the west. This is looking south towards the house, would be the north end of the addition. There's 2 stakes here and here. Here's the proposed garage, and matches up just a little bit past that little entryway right there. So that's all that I have, and the applicant is here this evening. So
Thank you, Richard. Would the applicant step forward, have a seat, and clear to state your name into the mic?
Good evening, Tony Brower with Brower Construction.
Just kind of formality here. You got anything to add to Richard's report?
No, we're just looking to add some square footage on the main floor so that they can do living on one level as they progress in life.
Any questions from members of the board at this time? You can go back to your chair now.
Thanks.
That being said, there, we'll move to the public hearing portion. Is anybody in the audience that is for this? Seeing, hearing none, is there anybody in the audience that is opposed to this? Seeing and hearing none, I'll now close the public hearing portion. Are there any additional comments or questions from members of the board? Seeing and hearing none, Richard, would you read the findings of facts?
yes, Brookings County zoning variance 2025 at 004, an application for a variance having been filed with the Brookings County Zoning Commission acting as the Brookings County Board of Adjustment, and copy of the application being attached here too. Such application being made by Keith England by Tony Brower regarding the following real property. The south 1,700 feet of the east 670 feet of the southeast 1/4 of Section 14, Township 112 North, Range 51 West, Preston Township. Located at 19877 465th Avenue, Bruce, South Dakota 57220. After due notice, a public hearing have been held on the application on the 2nd day of December 2025. Number 1, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment hereby finding that the strict application of the Brookings County zoning ordinance would produce undue hardship, that such hardship is not shared generally by other properties in the same district or the same vicinity, and that authorization of such variance would not be substantial detriment to adjacent properties, and the character of the district would not be changed by the granting of the variance. And that granting the such variance is based upon reasonable, demonstrable, and exceptional hardship as distinguished from variations for the purpose of convenience, profit, and caprice. Number 2, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment further finding that the condition or situation of the property concerned or the intended use of the property is not so general or recurring in nature as to make reasonable, practicable the formulation of a general regulation to be adopted as an amendment to the zoning ordinance. Number 3, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment further finding that the written application of the petitioner demonstrates that special conditions and circumstances exist which are peculiar to the land, structure, or buildings in the same district, and that literal interpretation of the provisions of the Brookings County zoning ordinance would deprive the applicant of rights commonly enjoyed by other properties in the same district under the same terms of the ordinance, that the special conditions or circumstances do not result from the actions of the applicant, that the granting of the variance requested will not confer on the applicant any special privilege that is denied by the ordinance or other lands, structures, or buildings in the same district. Number 4, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment further finding that the reasons set forth in the application justify the granting of the variance and that the variance is a minimum variance that will make possible the reasonable or practicable use of the land, building, or structure that is granting of the variance will be in harmony with the general purpose and the intent of the Brookings County zoning ordinance. It will not be injurious to the neighborhood or otherwise detrimental to the public welfare. Number 5, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment further determines and conditions this variance upon the following special conditions or safeguards. The location of detached garage on the west side of the house. B, the house was built in 1917 prior to the current zoning requirements. The Brookings County Board of Adjustment, by at least two-thirds vote of its full membership, hereby grants the above petitioner a variance for the above described real property as follows. Build a 28 by 30 residence addition 74 feet from the center of 465th Avenue. This variance is specifically conditioned upon initial and continued compliance with all the conditions and safeguards in 5 above and upon compliance with all applicable provisions of the Brookings County zoning ordinance. If approved, the Brookings County zoning director is authorized to issue any required building permits for construction consistent with the terms of this variance. If this variance is not used within 3 years of the date granted, it shall be invalid, dated the 2nd day of December 2025.
Are there any additions or corrections to the findings of facts?
Mr. Chair, I find that this application meets the requirements of the zoning ordinance, as long as the findings of facts are followed. Therefore, I concur with the findings of facts.
Thank you, Mr. Vanderwall. Richard, would you call the vote?
Mark Joinby,
Aye.
Neil Troyan,
Aye.
Randy Jensen,
Aye.
Kelly Vanderwall,
Aye.
Dale Storhaug,
Aye.
Cody Clark,
Aye.
Kyle Vanderwall,
Aye.
Justin D. Groot,
Aye.
and Chad Ford.
Aye.
Motion passes. So we'll send you a copy of these in the mail, and you can come in tomorrow and get your building permit, so. Thank you.
Moving on, agenda item 2025, variance 005. Julie Johnson has made an application 2025, variance 005 to the Brookings County Board of Adjustment for variance Article 4 District Requirements, Chapter 4.03 LP, Lake Park District, Section 4.03.03, Density, Area, and Yard Regulation. The property is described as lots A and F of lots A, B, C, D, E, and F of Outlot B of the Towser subdivision within Lake Ponset Heights, all in Government Lot 3 of Section 5, Township 112, North Range 52W, Laketon Township, located at 127 South Lake Drive, Arlington, South Dakota 57212. Is there a motion? Motion by Jensen. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Kyle Vanderwall. Richard, would you read the staff report?
Yes, 2025 variant 005, Julie Johnson has applied for a variance in the Lake Park zoning district to build a 4-foot by 5-foot entry stoop or deck 4 feet from the east property line, a variance of 4 feet, and 30 feet from the highest known water elevation, a variance of 45 feet. The side yard setback is 8 feet, and the lake side setback is 75 feet from the highest water elevation. The new 4x5 stoop or deck will be the new access to the house. The applicant is adding a 24 by 25 addition onto the front, not the lake side of the cabin, and using the existing foundation that is there. The addition foundation was poured, but the walls and the roof of the addition were not built by the previous owners. The property has been removed from the floodplain as it met the FEMA requirements in the letter of map amendment. The house addition and the existing house meet the 8-foot side setbacks and the front yard setback of 25 feet. Things to consider are the shape and the size of the lot. The house was built in 1928 prior to the current zoning requirements. The Lake Ponset Heights subdivision was originally platted on May 12, 1922, and replatted on February 21st, 1986, at the request of several property owners. Public notices were published in the Brookings Register on November 8th and 25th, 2025, and the Arlington Sun on November 20th and 27th, 2025. Letters were sent to the adjoining landowners, the Brookings County Highway Department, and the Laketon Township Chairman and Clerk. Here is their variance application. Here's the site plan with the stoop being right here. This is the addition that they would be building on the existing foundation. Here's the floor plan. This is the existing house right here, the existing south wall. This is a proposed 24 by 25 addition. This is the proposed stoop entry that they're asking to build. It's just the surveyor's map of the property. Showing the existing property line, the proposed addition. Everything meets the side setbacks, 8'1", 24 foot here, up to this is lot A, but this is existing, so it's about 30, if I remember, about 38 feet to the edge of the house. This is the plat. This is lot A and lot F right here. This is a plat the way it is now. You can see the existing foundation right here. This is the existing cabin that's there. This will be the park. There is an access easement on lot A for the owners of the cabins to the west. They have access to get there, so there will be plenty of parking for them to park right here. Some photos of the property. This is looking west towards the parking area and the access easement right there. This is looking north towards the lake. This is just looking south north towards the lake where the existing foundation is here that you can see. This is the west property line, 8 feet from the foundation. This is the east side of the house. The wheel is at 8 feet from the edge of the house. On this one, this is where the 4 feet for the stoop would be. Come out just not quite to the existing deck out there. That is 6 feet if I remember right. This is looking towards the west where the existing entrance is right now at the south side of the house. This is looking towards the north. Yes, the edge of the deck on the lake side is 6 feet right there. It's just looking from the beach, from the area back towards the south, towards the house. House is considerably higher than the beach area, and like I say, it was high enough to get removed from the floodplain. This is all that I have, and that's the applicant is here this evening.
Thank you, Richard. If the applicant would come forward and clearly state your name into the mic, if you choose.
I don't know if I really choose, but I just want to thank you for taking the time to hear this variance. My husband and I are here, and basically we bought this small cabin with the plan and hopes of building a small addition because we now have some grandkids and we need more bedrooms than we had in our current little 2-bedroom cabin. So we will now have 4 and have enough room for our family. So thank you.
Do you have anything to add to Richard's report?
I do not.
Are there any questions from members of the board at this time? Go back to your seat if you want. That being said, I'll move to the public hearing portion. Is anybody in the audience that is for this?
Mr. Chair, yes, we did receive 2 emails yesterday and today. I'll read these quick. This is from Sean Erickson. Hello, Richard. My name is Sean Erickson. I've lived at 126 South Lake Drive, number 13 at Arlington Beach since 2017. I've known John and Julie for many years and prior and have coached hockey with John. I understand they have a variance meeting tomorrow on their deck and potentially other improvements. I can't recall exactly what the variance letter stated. Since we have owned there, the white ABR adjacent cabin has been quite an eyesore. We are so happy that they have purchased this and are excited to see the improvements. John and Julie are incredible people and some of the best I know. They will do a good job on these improvements. I want to voice my full support for them. Thank you for your time. Sean Erickson. And the other one's from Todd Soltkeek, Travis Soltkeek. Good morning. I'm a homeowner at Arlington Beach Resort at Lake Ponset. I'm writing regarding to the upcoming variance hearing for John and Julie Johnson. The Haas cabin adjacent to Arlington Beach is a tired property in need of TLC. The property has had work done in the past, has never been completed, leaving it to sit unfinished for years now. I believe the Johnson's idea to update the property without tearing the existing original structure is good taste, leaving the history of the original structure. This project will bring the property back to life and benefit the county and the local community. I've gotten to know John and Julie over the past 5 years, and they are great members of the community and passionate about the lake area. Please consider the variance on this property, and thank you very much for your time and consideration. Travis Soltake. That's all I have. Those comments were not received in time to be put online, so that's why they were read this at the meeting this evening.
Thank you, Richard. Is there anybody else that is for this? Seeing and hearing none, is there anybody opposed to this? Seeing and hearing none, I'll now close the public hearing portion. Go back to the board. Are there any additional comments or questions from members of the board? Seeing and hearing none, Richard, would you read the findings of facts?
Yes, I'll read the front page, then just highlight the numbers on there, and then read the rest towards the end of it as it pertains to this particular variance. Brookings County zoning variance 2025, variant 005, an application for variance having been filed with Brookings County Zoning Commission acting as the Brookings County Board of Adjustment. Copy of the application being attached here too. Such application being made by Julie Johnson regarding the following real property. Lots A and F of lots A, B, C, D, E, and F of Outlot B of Twazzer subdivision within Lake Ponset Heights, all in Government Lot 3 of Section 5, Township 112 North, Range 52 West, Laketon Township, located at 127 South Lake Drive, Arlington, South Dakota. After due notice, a public hearing having been held on the application on the 2nd day of December 2025. Number 1. Number 2. Number 3. Number 4. Number 5, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment further determines and conditions this variance upon the following special conditions or safeguards. A, Lake Ponset Ice subdivision was platted on May 12, 1922, and replatted on February 21, 1986 at the request of property owners at that time. B, the house was built in 1928 prior to the current Lake Park zoning ordinance setback requirements. C, the property met the FEMA requirements for a letter of map amendment, a LOMA, for the structure of the residence to be removed from the floodplain on December 23, 2008. D, the residence with a proposed 24 by 25 addition on the front side away from the lake meets the 8-foot side setbacks and the front yard 25-foot setback from the road. The Brookings County Board of Adjustment, by at least 2/3 vote of its full membership, hereby grants the petitioner a variance for the above described real property as follows. Build a 4-foot by 5-foot entry, stoop, deck, 4 feet from the east property line, a variance of 4 feet, and 30 feet from the highest known water elevation, a variance of 45 feet, for a new entrance to the house. This variance is specifically conditioned upon initial and continued compliance with all the conditions and safeguards in 5 above and upon compliance with all applicable provisions of the Brookings County zoning ordinance. If approved, the Brookings County zoning director is authorized to issue any required building permits for construction consistent with the terms of this variance. If this variance is not used within 3 years of the date granted, it shall be invalid. Dated the 2nd day of December, 2025.
Are there any additions or corrections to the findings of facts?
Mr. Chair, I find that this application meets the requirements of the zoning ordinance as long as the findings of facts are followed, so I concur with the findings of facts.
Thank you, Mr. Jensen. That being said, Richard, would you call the vote?
Neil Troyan,
Aye.
Randy Jensen,
Yes.
Kelly Vanderwall,
Aye.
Cody Clark. Dale Storhaug,
Aye.
Darrell Kleinjohn,
Aye.
Kyle Vanderwall,
Aye.
Mark Joinby,
Yes.
Chad Ford.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Moving on,
So we'll-
agenda item.
Oh, excuse me. We'll send you your original copies, and you can come in to get your building permit tomorrow if you'd like, so, thank you.
Moving on, agenda item 2025 CU 008. Dan Ackerwald has made an application 2025 CU 008 to the Brookings County Board of Adjustment for a conditional use permit, Article 4 District Requirements, Chapter 4.01A Agricultural Land District, Section 4.01.04, Conditional Uses Number 24, Sand, Gravel, or Quarry Operation, Mineral Exploration and Extraction, Rock Crushers, and Concrete and Asphalt Mixing Plants. The property is described as the west half of the southwest 1/4, excluding the north 191 feet of the west 456 feet, and H-1 in Section 25, Township 109 North, Range 50W, Madera Township, located at 47122 219th Street, Brookings, South Dakota 57006. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Troyan, is there a second? Second by Jensen. Richard, would you read the staff report?
You need to read slower. All right, here we go. Or I need to type faster, one of the two. 2025 CU 008, Dan Ackerwald has applied for conditional use, Article 4, District Requirements, Chapter 4.01, Ag Use Agriculture District, Section 4.01, Conditional Uses, Number 24, Sand, Gravel, or Quarry Operation, Mineral Exploration and Extraction, and Rock Crushers. The material will be mined and processed, crushed on site, and you would like to be able to haul and use concrete to store and mix, to crush and mix with the used gravel on an as-needed basis. Mr. Ackerwald is digging ponds for his fish and bait farm and selling the mined material. The property is not in the floodplain, but it is on Zone B of the Aquifer Materials map. The ponds will be 10 to 15 feet deep with a 4-to-1 slope around the edge for the ponds for safety. Berms will be constructed around the outside perimeter of the mining area, and the hours of operation will be 6:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Weed and dust control would be applied as needed. The proposed mining would be for 10 years. When mining and reclamation is complete, the ponds will be used for his fish and bait farm. The applicant will use a mining contractor to mine the gravel. The applicant does have a mining permit from the South Dakota Department of Agricultural and Natural Resources, which is on file. The entrance and exit to the site will be off 219th Street, which is also known as Brookings County Highway number 22. The applicant was approved for conditional use 2023, CU 003 for mining, conditional use 004 for crushing, and 005 for crushing of concrete on March 7th, 2023. For the east half of the west half of the southwest 1/4 of Section 25, Township 109 North, Range 50 West, Madera Township, for the east 40 acres. He has applied for a notice to intent to mine with the South Dakota Department of Agriculture and Natural Resources for the proposed location, and would be like to continue the same operation on the west 36.48 acres. Letters were sent to the joint landowners, the Madera Township Chairman and Clerk, and the Brookings County Highway Department. Letters were published in the Brookings Register on November 18th and 25th, 2025. Here is the applicant's conditional use application. Here is his site map. This is existing mining that he has done. This is a proposed mining on the west. This is the east half. This is the west half. This is his business plan, his hours of operation, the depth, slope, This is a proposed, West half where he's proposed for the proposed mining. This is Old 77 here, which is also known as 471st Avenue. This is, or otherwise Brookings County Highway 77. This is 219th Street, Blacktop County Road, also known as Brookings County Road 22. Just looking from the northwest corner of the property, looking towards the northeast here. This is looking down towards the southeast from the northwest corner towards his building site and existing ponds. This is looking from this intersection of 219th and 471st, looking back to the northwest, or northeast, excuse me. This is looking east along 219th Street and 471st. This is just looking down to the proposed, looking north from 219th down the proposed mining area, all hay and grass field. This is the main entrance that will be used for hauling the gravel in and out 219th Street. Nice wide driveway. You can see no hills or anything, so a nice, even, good vision coming out of the driveway. So that's all that I have, and the applicant is here this evening.
Thank you, Richard. Would the applicant please step forward and clearly state your name into the mic?
Good evening. First, thank you, Raylene and Richard, and probably Robert, for your help getting it this far, and you gentlemen for hearing it. My name's Dan Ackwold. I'm with Kingfisher, and yes, we're applying. We'd just like to improve our wintering ponds for aquaculture use and be able to sell the material that comes out to help offset the cost of constructing those ponds.
Okay, do you have anything to add to Richard's report?
Yes.
You have something to add to what he had?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Nope, I've read it, yep.
Okay, is there any questions from members of the board at this time? You can go back to your seat.
Maybe I'd say something too. There's a field approach there, a couple of field approaches on 471, and I know Richard had the primary use being on up 219. You can see where the two aggregate piles, the kind of the trail back to 471 would be an area it's a fairly, I wouldn't say steep, but it has enough incline where we'd like to just improve that access site. I don't know if in the future material could potentially leave there or not, but that would be something that we'd like to consider if those field approaches have been improved to the point where that would be a viable option, so.
Okay, do you have anything else to add to Richard's report, or?
I do not.
Okay. No questions from board, right? You can go back to your seat for a minute here. We'll move to the public hearing portion. Is there anybody in the audience that is for this? Seeing and hearing none, is there anybody in the audience that is opposed to this? Step forward and clearly state your name into the mic, please.
Good evening, Brad Nelson. I got the property on the corner immediately south of where this is going to be going on. I'm in favor of the sand being reclaimed from there. I'm a little concerned about this rock crush, well, not the rock crusher part, but the concrete crushing. I don't know where the concrete's going to come from that's going to be crushed on the property. But if there is rocks out there, he's going to have to crush them up or get them sold, so I'm not offended about that. I just don't want concrete being hauled in to be crushed there. But as far as the sand being reclaimed, the 10-foot deep holes, I got sand point. 10 foot's not gonna bother that. And I talked to Dan, he's gonna have the ponds where the photo is, it's gonna be over to the north more. I'm more in that curve over there in the upper right side. So I don't have a problem with that. There's plenty of sand there to siphon the water before it gets to my house. So my main concern there would be the depth of the ponds, but that's been clarified as 8 to 10 feet. No problem with that. I'm down 17 feet with my sand points. But the rock or the concrete crushing is where that would be my only concern at this time, I guess.
Okay. That's about all we got for that there. Is there anybody, any questions for him? Not at this time? We might call back on you there, Brad.
Pardon me?
We might call back on you if we got some more questions there, so.
Very good, thank you.
Is there anybody else in the audience that is opposed to this? Seeing and hearing none, we'll now close the public hearing portion. Are there any additional comments or questions from members of the board? Dan, would you step up here for a second? Just so we're aware here, what is your intention on crushing concrete?
Yeah, so that's a good question, and Brad and I had a chance to visit, and I have very little intention to crush concrete. When Richard and I talked, we kind of just lumped it all together. There's not even a lot of rock, to the best of my knowledge, out there to be crushed. I think it's primarily sand and small rock. Realistically, I have very little intention of crushing any rock or any concrete. I think that the best use of that material is to be sold as pit run material. When we went through the permitting on the other piece, we had just applied for everything. Just should, I think the main thought would be is if we had a pile of material up and there happened to be a roadway project coming by or somewhere in the area that material wasn't meeting engineering specs, to crush enough material to remove the pile in a timely fashion. I guess that's what our intent was in doing it. There's not a great spot to put material, and certainly I wouldn't want to probably look directly out of Brad's place and see it right in that open lot. We plan to keep that as grass, so really other than the aggregate sites there, I don't see any place to really put concrete either. I'm not excited about the idea of hauling it on there. I guess it got just put into the application pile under a potential need for engineered fill in the future on something close by, so.
Okay. I guess that being said, is there any additional questions from members of the board? Seeing none, I guess, Richard, would you read the findings of facts?
Yes, I'll read this through in its entirety, and we can remove items as we proceed. We can take the concrete out of there, and we can leave the crushing of your mined material if you need to, but we can take if the board would like, or if you would like us to remove that, we can take the crushed concrete, hauling into the concrete out of there, and we'll go from there, so.
Sure. To be clear, did I hear that right? We were gonna remove that portion of it?
If you would like to.
If you would like that removed?
I would prefer to keep it, but I also want to be respectful of Brad's desires there. And we have some room on the existing acreage that I believe had been potentially granted on our last one that could be utilized maybe, but I want to be respectful. I made a visit to all of our neighbors here after speaking with Richard, and certainly just want to be respectful. Even if we're granted licensing to do things, I want to make sure that our primary intent is to respect the neighborhood, keep it quiet. It's already a busy spot with trucks for us the way it is, and I think our intent would be to not utilize that, and at the same time, I'd hate to have a deal come along where we could, move the whole pile under a very, a small window of crushing opportunity. I wouldn't want to see a pile building and just hanging out there to be used at some random time in the future. It'd be very specific and very conditional for us to even probably go forward with using it. So I don't know how hard it is to go back through the permitting process if that would be the case, but I guess I'd love it too if Brad, thought about that, or even like I said, we have a potential spot where we could on the other side if that was a little farther from the homestead. But like I said, my intent, I hope we don't even have to crush it. We have enough other interests going on where I don't want to be in the middle of that. I just would like to see the sand move and the gravel move, and I think that's more than likely what'll happen. But I also am going through the process, and if it's something that's reasonable within, or if Brad would like a conversation before we even started anything, I'd be more than happy to consider all these things. So I guess you guys can tell me your comfort level on proceeding with it as it is versus maybe removing a part of that, and I think I'd be pretty open to all of it.
Okay, we'll get to that part, but you could still haul in concrete and crush on your East 80.
Okay,
Still
sure.
allowed to
Yep.
do that. That does
Yep.
not take, this does not take that away.
Yep,
So if he does bring that in, he can still haul in concrete and crush it on the East 80. Just so you're aware of that, Brad.
and, yeah, and it's a small space there that we could reserve for the ability to do that, and maybe we would just to keep that option open, whether it ever happened or not. Like I said, I'd prefer it to not even happen myself, so.
Yep.
I'm okay with removing that if Brad feels good about it, or if we end up leaving it, I would only advance with, Brad's permission under very circumstantial, events to do something. So I guess however, you felt it would be best to proceed, or Brad was comfortable, that's what I'd be comfortable with.
Go through and read it, and we'll leave it up to the board here and
Okay.
for their final decision, if they want to grant you that ability to
Yep.
still crush and haul in concrete
Yep.
there, that's up to the board.
Yep,
So
Very
we'll read
good.
it, and then we can make the changes as we go.
yep, very good, thank you.
Brookings County Zoning Commission, conditional use 2025 CU 008, an application for a conditional use having been filed with the Brookings County Zoning Commission, acting as the Board of Adjustment. Copy of the application being attached here too. Such application being made by Dan Ackerwold regarding the following real property. The west half of the southwest 1/4, except the north 191 feet of the west 450 feet and H1 of Section 25, Township 109 North, Range 50 West, Madera Township, located at 47122 219th Street, Brookings, South Dakota, 57006. After due notice, a public hearing have been held on the application on the second day, December 2025. Number one, the Brookings County Zoning Commission hereby finding that it is empowered to grant such a conditional use on the following sections of the Brookings County zoning ordinance. Article 4, District Requirements, Chapter 4.01A, Agricultural District, Section 4.0104, Conditional Use Permit Number 24, Sand, Gravel, and Quarry Operation, Mineral Exploration, Extraction, and Rock Crushers. And further finding that the granting of the conditional use will not adversely affect the public interest. Number two, the Brookings County Zoning Commission further certifies that the following specific rules governing the conditional use have been complied with. None stated. Number three, the Brookings County Zoning Commission further finds that satisfactory provisions and arrangements have been made concerning the following application were practicable. A, entrance and exits to the property and proposed structure in particular reference to automotive and pedestrian safety and convenience, traffic flow, control and access in case of fire or catastrophe. Truck entrance will use the entrance off 219th Street on otherwise County Road Blacktop number 22. The only way you would be able to use an entrance off of 471st Street, County Road 77, would be if you got a driveway permit and permission from the county highway superintendent. There's limited access for so many driveways over so many feet on there, so you can maybe get one, probably not two accesses on there, but we'll just put on there if additional access is required on 471st Avenue, County 77, driveway permit from the Brookings County Highway Department would be required.
Mr. Chairman, could you let Luke Mueller speak, please?
Luke, you want to chime in something here?
I do. This is probably a little bit early for this point. It sounds like you took care of, or you may be taking care of the question on hauling in materials, for crushing, but I would recommend that not be allowed in the part that he's requesting here and just only allow in the previous permit. The other point that I wanted to make is that I think that his site plan indicates he doesn't intend on mining anything in that south 200 feet. But you do have a 200-foot setback in your ordinance on that property line, so you probably ought to have a condition that says that no mining can occur in the south 200 feet of this property without a written affidavit consenting to it from the neighbors to the south.
We have that stated later on in the findings, Luke.
Doggone it. I got ahead of it. Then no further comments.
All right, additional access off 471st Avenue would require a driveway permit from the Brookings County Highway Department. B, off-street parking and loading areas were required with particular attention to items in A above, economic noise, glare, and other effects of the conditional use on adjoining properties and generally in the district. No on-street parking, no parking of equipment or storage of fuel or oil in the mining area, separate parking lot and storage area for fuel, oil, and equipment with containment to be 300 foot away from the mined or actively mined areas. C, utilities, refuge, and service areas with reference to locations, availability, and compatibility, dumpster service required for garbage disposal. D, screening and buffering with reference to type, dimensions, and character. Maintain an outside perimeter berms as per site plan with a 4-to-1 slope. Top of the berm being 10 foot in width and silt fence installed around the berm or the perimeter of the mining area until grass is established to prevent erosion. Perimeter of the mining area to be fenced in. E, signs, if any, proposed exterior lighting with reference to glare, traffic safety, economic effect, and compatibility and harmony with properties in the district. 32 square foot sign allowed and any other required safety signs. F, required yards and other open spaces. Spraying of all noxious weeds and other weeds before they go to seed. Monitor weed growth and weed control by spraying, mowing, tilling by the permit holder or designated professional sprayer service. Weed control is pursuant to South Dakota Codified Law 38-22 and would be inspected 2 times a year for weed growth and weed control by the Brookings County Weed Supervisor. G, general compatibility with all adjacent properties and other properties in the district. Meets the comprehensive plan for the agricultural district. H, roads providing access to the property are adequate to meet the transportation demands of the proposed conditional use. The Board of Adjustment may require the applicant to enter into a written contract with any affected township or other governmental unit regarding the upgrading and continued maintenance of any roads used for the conditional use request prior to the issuance of a conditional use. Brookings County Blacktop Road number 32, otherwise known as 219th Street, meets the transportation demands of the conditional use. We'll also add in here meets the transfer demands of the conditional use. I, any required notification of law enforcement or the fire department, notification of Brookings County 911 or the Brookings County Emergency Management of any hazardous material or chemical spills. J, any safety requirements, any safety inspections. Any inspections required by the South Dakota Department of Agriculture or Natural Resources or any other agency, state agency for gravel mining. Number 4, the Brookings County Zoning Commission further determines and conditions this conditional use permit upon the following additional special conditions or safeguards. A, setbacks. Mining setback to be 50 feet from the property lines. Number 2, a 100 feet setback from any public right-of-way. Number 3, 200-foot setback from any residence. B, follow Brookings County Ordinance Chapter 4.06 Aquifer Protection Performance Standards in Section 4.0606. C, fuel storage with containment to be 300 foot away from any mined or actively mined areas. D, dust control such as magnesium chloride or like products in the driveway, entrance, exits, loading areas as required. D, dust control when processing, crushing, and screening gravel. F, hours of operation, 6:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m., Monday through Saturday. G, South Dakota Department of Agriculture and Natural Resources mining permit required and a copy on file with the Brookings County Development Office. H, reclamation plan, mined area to be used for fish ponds and whatever that 10-cent word is, promulgation. Conditional use balance for 10 years, which this will run. It's the same time as, expires the same time as your other one. Make it all easier. Would expire on March 7th, 2033, or when the gravel resource is depleted. Unless there's some reason you want this one to hang out there a little extra, just put them all at the same date that way. If you get done with one, you'll probably be done with the other one. So the Brookings County Board of Adjustment needs a majority approval of the members present to grant the above petitioner a conditional use for the above described real property as follows. Conditional use number 4, mine and crush gravel on site. This we can, subject to you, what the board would like to do and the applicant. Haul and use concrete, stockpile, and crush to mix with crushed gravel on an as-needed basis. This conditional use permit is specifically conditioned on initial and continuing compliance with all the requirements and conditions in 3 and 4 above, and upon compliance with all applicable provisions of the Brookings County zoning ordinance. If approved, the Brookings County zoning director is authorized to issue any required building permits for construction consistent with the requirements of this conditional use. This conditional use permit is not used in 3 years of the date granted, it shall be invalid. Dated the 2nd day of December, 2025.
Does anybody want to do anything with the concrete crushing? Take that part out and you can do it on the west half or leave it, or?
It would be the east half.
Be the east half? that you
Yes.
could do? Okay, yes, I'm wrong side. You all right with taking that out? Do you think we should take it out? Take it out. If you want to take that out?
Okay, we'll remove that part.
Are there any additions or corrections to the findings of facts? Thank you, Mr. Jensen. That being said, Richard, would you call a vote?
Randy Jensen,
Yes.
Kelly Vanderwall,
Aye.
Dale Storhaug,
Aye.
Cody Clark,
Aye.
Darrell Kleinjohn,
Aye.
Kyle Vanderwall,
Aye.
Mark Jornby,
Yes.
Neil Troyan,
Aye.
Chad Ford.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Moving on, department reports?
Yes, sir. The first thing, next year's election falls on our meeting night. We would like to move the election date since we have a commissioner on our zoning board who's going to be more concerned with election than zoning matters, more than likely. We would like to get the board's opinion to move the meeting. What was the date, Richard, Thursday or the following week?
I would believe it would be the following Thursday for both the June meeting and the November meeting.
Since there's elections on both days.
Right, and also the other possibility, removing the December meeting from Tuesday to Thursday, when we hear when the when we hear they have the Ag Appreciation Banquet, if it's on Tuesday, so the board would be able to go to that.
You know, that was goat rope, because most of you would have been at the ag banquet, and I would imagine I would have been there, so. And then, the next thing, the county commission just wanted us to remind everybody to stop at stop signs, especially if you're driving big trucks. We have had deaths in Brookings County in the last 6 months, and we've had several accidents. So the sheriff did remind us this morning that stop sign is not a recommendation. It means you need to stop. So, and other than that, have a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year from the County Commission. They appreciate your time that you dedicate to Brookings County. That's all I've got. Richard?
We need to select a nominating committee for slate of officers for our January meeting coming up.
One of them's got to be Paulson. He's not here.
That sounds good.
There's half of the committee.
Anybody else want to volunteer for it?
Somebody else's turn this time.
What's wrong, Kyle? You getting bashful? Somebody pick.
Fine, I'll take a bullet.
Thank you, Kyle. Tim and Kyle. Isn't that the same two we had last year?
And the year before.
Consistency. That's what we're going for.
That's all that I have as of this time. We don't have anything for our
We
January.
would like to give Luke Mueller a chance to speak, if you don't mind, Chairman.
Yep.
Luke, do you have something you'd
Nothing
like to add?
Nothing to add, just have a good Christmas.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So if there's nothing on their agenda items, we will still be meeting, but we'll probably have some training or looking at our ordinance, some possibly ideas to update certain sections of it. So we will still be meeting in January.
Okay. That it for,
That's all that I have.
no need for executive session? Sounds great.
No need, sir.
Is your motion to adjourn? Motion by Clark, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jensen. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.